My name is Christine. I'm one of the museum interpreters, and we do offer 3 components to the full tour here at the site. So what I'll do is explain. First of all is our exhibit room, which consists of storyboards to read. The lower area will deal with the archaeological aspect of the site. Then as you move along, you do move into the Beothuk way of life. And it will touch on such things as food resources, spirituality, and the last panel being a tribute to Shauna Did, the last known Beothuk. We do offer 3 displays of artifacts, and all those on display were excavated here at the site. The first display builds a prehistoric Beothuk. They date from 5 to 1200 years old. There's a smaller showcase with some very tiny detailed arrowheads. And Dr. Ralph Pastore, who was the head archaeologist for our site, do believe those were made and used as training tools for the young children. In our larger showcase, there's an assortment with some European goods.
We're here in Boyd's Cove exploring the archaeological site of the Beothuk people. They were a group of what were described at the time Red Indians who lived in this area but avoided contact with the newcomers, the English, Portuguese and French fishermen who came here for part of the year.
The Beothuk people were called Red Indians by the settlers because they used red ochre mixed with grease, sometimes seal grease or whatever, and then smeared it on their skin. And it's believed that it was probably a good anti-mosquito agent as well as maybe to prevent sunburn. But it gave their bodies a very reddish cast. And that was used in their clothing and everything, and it had some sort of a religious significance as well. After the people died, their bodies were coated with the red ochre, and even after the bones had been exposed, the bones would also be painted with this stuff.
After the fishermen would go home back across the Atlantic, they would come into the camps and scavenge them for iron nails and such like that. So it's possible that they didn't really have a need for doing any trading with newcomers. But eventually, as time went on and the newcomers tended to stay, they were pushed back inland, and eventually there was conflict with a lot of violence on both sides. The last Beothuk woman died in 1829 in St. John's, and there's been some surviving DNA, no doubt, in population of the Europeans that are here, but culturally they are an extinct people. So this is the area that we're walking over to take a look at, where their camp was discovered to be. And there's been some excavations there. Hopefully there will be more in the future, but for the moment the excavating has been finished with. And what they found was a flat plain near the shoreline on the top of a small cliff. Been plenty of evidence that they use this as a hunting and fishing camp, and may have stayed here during the winters or may have moved back into the interior. It's not really known.
So this is the actual site. And this is from the other viewing point. The archaeologist was explaining in a short video that once he was walking around the site back in the 80s, he realized that this was indeed an Indian site from the various indicators he saw, including the depressions that you can make out here.
So that's the story of the Beothuk people. And by the way, Beothuk is what they call themselves. It simply means the people.
That's doing 12, 15. Well, we've arrived at our next destination here in Twillingate, and this is Back Harbour. We're going to do a little walk out to the end of the island there. But first, a little lunch.
To say. I'm not gonna say it on the camera.
Tara's running all over the hilltop, peeking over the edge of the cliffs and stuff. Makes me really nervous, but she seems to have no fear and yet is being sensible too. tonight?
And we are in the town